It's Saturday, December 27th, and the weather is about to completely flip on its head, almost upside down. For the past couple of days, we've seen a pattern where it's been really wet and nasty in the far west, but now we're about to see a much cooler pattern and a much more active pattern move into the central and eastern United States. That really record breaking warm snap that we've seen is about to completely disappear, and we're going to see cold air invade the U.S. all the way down to Florida, potentially freezing temps down there. But starting with our severe weather outlook today, nothing severe that we're expecting, but we are expecting a blotch of thunderstorms right out here in the Midwest, stretching from far eastern Kansas all the way up into the far northwestern corner of Ohio. I think this could even be stretched down into parts of Arizona and Utah. We're going to kind of have an area flow up here with a lot of storms along that, but we'll talk more on that in a second. What I really want to take a look at is what it's going to look like tomorrow. This is what I'm talking about with the weather becoming really crazy in the central and eastern US. We have a very large marginal risk of severe weather, and this looks like it could potentially be for all hazards. Mostly going to be a wind threat though, but definitely want to stay tuned for tomorrow to see an update on that. But starting with our most active thunderstorm area that I just mentioned today, it looks like we're actually not going to see a lot of this thunderstorm activity until probably the nightfall hours right after the sun sets. Once the low level jet kicks in, we're going to start to see a lot of blips along a frontal area, also an area of flow in our jet stream as the low level jet kind of gets rammed into these storms, forcing them up, kind of increasing the weak convergence that we've seen here, making it a little stronger. And while this is also happening, our cold front will be deepening down further up north, and also our jet stream is going to be getting stronger. So while all of this culminates together, we're going to start to see these storms fire up. Probably just after sunset is when they'll really start to get their act together. And then we're just going to see a kind of a messy mode of storms in that green shaded area that I just mentioned, from far eastern Kansas all the way to, guess what, northwestern Ohio. This just looks like it's going to be a lot of rain in wind makers. Nothing crazy. And even I don't think the wind with these will be that strong, but definitely potentially a couple of strong gusts embedded in there. Definitely want to be ready for these. But once these start, the really are not going to stop until this cold front kind of just moves through its course all the way in Sunday morning. So tomorrow morning, these storms are still going to be really active, and they're only going to get stronger as we go through the night. And by that time, Sunday, that's really when our severe weather threat is going to kick in that I just briefly mentioned. So definitely want to be aware of that. This looks like it could be a pretty strong one. So definitely want to be on the lookout. But on a more national scale, for all of the areas that the Storm Prediction Center didn't quite touch on, I definitely think there's still going to be quite a bit of activity out west. Although it looks like a lot of this is just going to be rain and snow makers up in the higher elevations kind of yesterday night. And then as we move into the very early morning hours today, we're going to start to see that kind of calm down. Still going to be snowing in the higher elevations out west, but I kind of want you to take a look at this specific blotch right over the Four Corner states, and it's going to start to push eastward into what will eventually culminate into our big weather system. So this is probably going to bring a couple of isolated thunderstorms, a couple of isolated showers as we go through the day right here, until it kind of culminates tonight into what will be our thunderstorm event. And then eventually Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, our severe event. Now, another area which I want to kind of take a quick peek at, it's going to be up here in the northeast. Very early this morning, we're going to still be seeing some snow up there in the higher elevations. And that's just kind of from a little bit of a droop in our jet stream right here, culminated with some convergence in our winds pushing up some storms, line of confluence, probably stationary front, and a little bit of a low pressure system there as well, helping out with that. And that is going to be almost entirely snow up there. Once the northeast receives kind of this little bout of snow right here, and it probably won't be a whole little bit of snow. It's actually going to be a decent bit of snow, probably reaching up to double digits in a lot of areas, far eastern New York into Connecticut and far western Massachusetts. But once this happens, it's going to calm down for a couple of days until our big weather system reaches it. But that probably won't be until Tuesday. So definitely a couple of days till that. So let's kind of circle back and focus back on what is happening in the present. Once again, lots of snow in the higher elevations out west. So a lot of the ski resorts haven't been seeing their usual bits of snow. Unless you're far up here in the Pacific Northwest, you've gotten loads of snow in the past couple of weeks. But down in Colorado and Utah, finally getting some snow up there in the higher elevations. And then that big low pressure system associated with that big trough that's going to be causing all of our severe weather through Sunday and Monday is going to drop just loads of snow up here in the Great Lakes region and northern Midwest. Definitely widespread double digits in some areas. And I've been talking about the jet stream a whole lot this video, and here's just a closer look on what it's actually going to be doing. So first and foremost, starting today, not going to really have a whole strong jet maximum out here in our main thunderstorm concern area. Definitely still some flow up here, but just not a whole lot for those storms. That's kind of why they wait until when the sun sets, so the low level jet can kind of increase, convergence increases, and then boom, we get our storms right here. But I really want to take a peek at this low pressure center. Further up north, it's going to start in Montana from your view, and then this secondary low pressure center down here over the Four Corners. We kind of have a double cold front kind of weird thing going on right now, but these are actually going to combine forces almost on Sunday right there. There you go. And then we get one just really, really strong cold front. Loads of forcing from our jet stream, very strong low pressure center. And then also, this is just going to force up a bunch of storms, and there we go. That's going to be our severe weather event. And it's actually going to bring a lot of cold weather with it. This really strong ridge that has been here just sitting over the southern central U.S., bringing some record-breaking temps for December. It's going to get pretty much banished by this all the way down. It's going to push it down to probably the Caribbean. And here's exactly what that looks at right now. We have a pretty strong high pressure system over this entire area, bringing some super duper hot temperatures to still the central and southern United States. Some record breaking temperatures, in fact. And pretty much what's going to happen with this, here comes our low pressure center. There it is. This area kind of characterized by some really, really warm temps. This is it. It's going to be feeling like potentially down to -20 in the northern plains in Midwest after we go through the next couple of days. And this system is only going to keep moving. It is going to move all the way down to central Florida. It might feel like it's freezing in central Florida as we go to New Year's Eve. Kind of crazy to think about it after this really warm snap, but yes, it is still winter and it is still going to be cold, of course. But circling back to what we're looking at today, it looks like it still could potentially be pretty warm, unfortunately. Of course, we're going to start to see it work in this little cooler blotch of air, but it's still going to be pretty warm, pretty similar temps to what we saw the past couple of days with warmth. And then it's not really going to start to really get its act together, move in until Sunday. Then you can see that super duper sharp line. That's going to be our cold front right there. And then that's when it's really going to start to get cool in parts of the northern and central U.S.